What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to get into the I think this is week 5, I believe, of the NBA Power Rankings. I'll have to check up on that. But yeah, the week 5 NBA Power Rankings should be an interesting discussion to get into. But yeah, let's get into it, starting out with the worst team in the NBA, staying at the same spot. No surprise, the Houston Rockets at 1-15. If you want to know more about the Houston Rockets, check out my other videos. Not looking good for them. But anyway, let's move on to number 29, which is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans. But they're going to be in this bad tier. They are very, very, very close to being in that trash tier. Without Zion Williamson, this team just sucks. And Zion's gone. Pelicans, it's unfortunate that, they've lost Zion, who is a superstar talent entering into the NBA. They've lost him for good. They've not built this roster up good, and he's gone. That's, I think, clear at this point. And then number 28, we're going to have the Orlando Magic sitting there at 4-13. Orlando playing, I don't know, just bad basketball, but they're not nearly as dreadful as the Pelicans or the Rockets right there. And then a very similar team, flipping spots from this week, is the Detroit Pistons. Mainly, I like Detroit more because of Cade Cunningham. He is the better talent piece for this team over a player like Suggs, which I love. But I like Cade Cunningham more right there. Anyway, let's move on to number 26. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh, no, I did not mean to do that. Staying at the same spot. Impressed by Oklahoma, though. 6-10. Playing decent basketball. But regardless, I don't see this team being in that conversation for in the hunt for the play-in tournament this season. I just don't see it happening, honestly. And then another team that's been very disappointing, the number 25 San Antonio Spurs. You'd have expected this team, coached by Greg Popovich, to be at least somewhat competitive, but so far they're playing bad basketball at 4-11. I do like them more than the Thunder to maybe sneak in that play-in tournament if they could turn things around, but right now, not looking good for the San Antonio Spurs. Right there at number 25, and then number 24, a team that will be dropping down 5 spots. Cleveland Cavaliers, 9-8, 9-5. Losing Colin Sexton clearly is a huge injury for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and it's going to hurt them in the long run. And that's what you've seen here. Obviously, I didn't overreact on the Cleveland Cavaliers and proved out dividends. This is going to be the largest drop of the power rankings here, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then number 23, we're going to have the Sacramento Kings staying at the same spot, but they're going to be in the hunt tier as we round out that bad tier. Kings, I like them at 6-11, but not playing as good as they were at the beginning of the season. And I don't think they'll make the play-in tournament by the end of the year, which is very depressing for Kings fans, as they've been waiting a long time to make that play-in tournament. But I don't think it happens. Kings, I think, will stick to number 23. Number 22, we're going to have the Indiana Pacers, 7-11. 7-11. Yeah, Indiana is 7-11. And anyway, the Pacers are going to be staying at that same spot. Just playing Pacers. I mean, went 1-3 this week. Not good. And the Eastern Conference right now looking very solid. I doubt the Pacers make this, but they're a competitive team every year in and year out. I think they should be in that conversation for that in the hunt. And then jumping up 3 spots, being in this tier at number 21, the play-in tournament, not We still have one more in the hunt team left in the Eastern Conference, but the Timberwolves impressed. This team is so up and down. I don't know what to think about them. But with the Kings struggling right now, that up and down I think will pay dividends for them to be at least the number 10 team. That's not a team you really want to play in the play-in tournament if you're a 9 seed, say the Grizzlies or the Trailblazers. You don't want to play the Timberwolves. I think they either could suck in that game or they could play very good basketball. Anyway, let's move on to number 20, and I think that'll be the Raptors jumping up a spot. Raptors staying in the hunt here. I don't think that this team will make the play-in tournament, but I do think that if they were in the Western Conference, they would. I think they're better than the Timberwolves, but I do think the Raptors are number 20. Kyle Lowry, I don't think will bring him to the play-in tournament unless he's not even on the team anymore. So if he was, they would be in there, I think, but he is not. So Raptors, always going to be competitive. I don't think they'll make it, though. Anyway, moving on to number 19. I think it'll be the Grizzlies, dropping down a spot from last week. The Grizzlies, 8-8. Just the same, really, team as they were last year. I think they'll be the 9th seed in the West. But the Eastern Conference improving a lot more over this year. So, yeah, I think they'll be number 19 and finish at 9. Not a lot else to say about the Grizzlies. Then moving on to number 18. The Hawks jumping up a couple spots. Hawks at 8 and 9. Getting back to what we expected from the Hawks entering into the season. A very good team that competing for some of those top spots in the East. They've won 4 straight. They're back in it. Trae Young playing much better, but I think the Hawks looking good at number 18. Will finish the number 10 seed, which may surprise some of you. I'm not ready to jump on board for this Hawks team quite yet. They definitely did not play basketball, so another week of this, they'll keep moving up. And then number 17, we have the Charlotte Hornets going to drop down a couple spots. But this is just due to some of these other teams winning. They only went 2-1 this week, so they had a decent week. But some of these other teams playing better than them, I think that they deserve that number 17 spot. And I think they'll finish that 9 seed in the Eastern Conference. All right, and then moving on to number 18, we're going to have the New York Knicks. 16. New York at 9-8. New York definitely dropping down 2 spots. They're just not the New York team I thought entering into the year with Kemba Walker in this roster. They're just not that good. They're just not playing that good right now. I mean, they're a mediocre team. They're not the team they were last year, as we saw. But New York, I do think, will bounce back from this. They're a team that I was expecting to be not in this play-in tournament, but in that conversation for the 4 seed as they were last year. But Knicks, I do think, finish with that number. I think will be that 16 and the number 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. Then number 15, we're going to have the Trailblazers. Trailblazers, I think, will finish number 8 in the Western Conference. They'll be jumping up a spot. Portland, always going to be competitive with Kyle Lowry and the team. This team, I think, is good enough to make the play-in tournament. But I don't think the Portland Trailblazers are as good as I thought entering into the year. They should have been better. But Trailblazers had a good week. They went 3-0. And played pretty solid. So I think the Trailblazers will finish at 8 in the Western Conference. And then number 14, team, much needed good week for this team, the Celtics. Jumping up 3 spots. Boston getting 3 straight wins is the same with the Timberwolves. The Celtics starting to look more like that Celtics team that we thought entering into the year. and I think they'll finish number 7. This team, very much high potential. They just need to execute on that. And right now they're doing that. So that's why they'll be number 14. And then not done with the play-in tournament tier quite yet. But the Sixers in the number 13, they'll be that because obviously still have one more West team, but I think the West team would finish that number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference over the Sixers. But Sixers dropping down a spot, 9-8. Without Embiid, this team sucks, clearly. And hopefully they can get him back as soon as possible, as they went 1-2 this week. Not impressive there from 76ers, but once Embiid gets back, they'll start to play like that playoff team. And that's why they're going to stay at number 13. I think they'll finish the 6th seed in the East. And then moving on to number 12, dropping down 2 spots, we're going to have the Los Angeles Lakers. Another mediocre week for the Lakers. They're 9-9. Not looking too good. LeBron James, that ejection was pretty crazy. But the Lakers, definitely a bad week. Went 1-2. 1-3. So Lakers need to turn things around. I think that clearly at this point we can all say the Wizards won that trade over the Lakers. I thought that was a dumb trade to start for Los Angeles. It was a reckless move. But yeah, I think the Lakers, number 7, need to start showing that this team can be a championship team. I don't think they will be one by the end of the year. All right, and then moving on to number 11, the Clippers, 10-7. They started out this season. They started out this season very, very good. Very bad, and then they've turned it around and have been playing very good. They're 10-7 now, proving that Paul George can lead this team to the playoffs. I had some, wasn't a little bit skeptical about him, but they went 2-2 this week, and I like them more than the Lakers to finish number 6, but it's close. I could see both those teams flipping. Obviously, you'd much rather be the 6th seed than the 7th seed with this new play-in tournament. All right, and then moving on to number 9, we're going to have number 10, the Mavericks. Jumping up 2 spots is Dallas. Dropping down 2 spots. Dallas, just a bad week, went 1-3. But Dallas, I still have faith in Luka. I still have faith in this team. They're about the team I thought that they would be at this point. And in a tough Western Conference, you can't complain at a 9-7 record. And I think this team will finish the season strong and finish at that 5 seed for the 2nd straight season in a row. All right, and then moving on to number 9, we're going to have the Washington Wizards jumping up 4 spots, as I said. Wizards won the trade, and I finally move them past the Lakers. Didn't do that last week, but now we are doing it to them this week. Wizards, they're just playing very good. They're 11-5. Kyle Kuzma playing very good. Bradley Beal obviously doing his thing. This team very well balanced and proven to be a threat in the Eastern Conference. So I think they may surprise some of you guys, but think they will finish with that number 5 seed. Don't trust them quite yet. To be that top team. Wait a second. Okay, so moving on to number 8. That'll be the Denver Nuggets. Sorry about that, but Nuggets, dropping down 3 spots, losing 4 straight. This team's beat up, obviously, but have to drop them with some of these other teams playing good as well. Nuggets, I do think that once Jokic comes back, this team will look as good as new, and obviously if Jamal Murray comes back soon, this team will be a contender. Right now, not playing good at 9-8. Clearly, Jokic is of the centerpiece of this team, and they need him really bad. But yeah, Nuggets, I do think they will. I think they deserve that 8 seed, though. And then moving on to number 7, we're going to have the Heat. Been staying at that number 7 spot for a very long time. Miami, 11-6. Looking, pretty good. Went 3-1 this week. So Heat just looking like the Heat. Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler. I don't think this team is a contender, though. I think that I just don't think that Jimmy Butler will and Kyle Lowry will lead this team, especially after what happened last season in the playoffs. But it's definitely a possibility. They're very close. I could definitely see them in it. They're definitely trending in the right spot. And then number 6, Bucks. Finally get some wins. Man, they needed that really bad because they were 6-8 entering into the week. They finished 9-8 with 3 straight wins. So huge wins for Milwaukee, the defending champs. Giannis getting this team back to over 500. Will be in this contender tier, as you know. Obviously, still some work to do. 1 week. May just be 1 week, but this team back on track. And then moving on to number 5, we're going to have the Chicago Bulls jumping up a spot at 12-5. Chicago really just jumping up because of the Nuggets loss. They had a good week. Went 3-1. So decent week for the Bulls, but really same input on them as I did last week, but the only thing they're jumping up a spot is because of the Nuggets. And then moving on to number 4, that'll be the Utah Jazz at 11 and 5. Good week for them. They went 3-0. Big week after they were struggling. Utah kind of is expecting for them to jump up on my tier list, but in my rankings, but some of these other teams having very impressive weeks for right there. So Jazz, number 4. And then number 3, the Brooklyn Nets at 12-5. Dropping down 2 spots after I put them at number 1 the previous week. Obviously, the Warriors beat them. And the Brooklyn Nets, I think the Brooklyn Nets, they're fine. They're still a contender, obviously. They're 12-5. But Nets, I don't think are that one seed. I think I overreacted after having a good week. They're definitely playing good basketball, playing like the Nets we thought. But there's some really hot teams right now in the West. And then the Suns, I'm just going to put both these teams out here. The Suns and the Warriors jump up a spot due to the Nets dropping down 2. But the Suns, let's talk about them. 112 straight there, catching fire at 13-3 after a very disappointing start, looking like the Suns from last season, the Western Conference champs. Phoenix, playing very good. Chris Paul, Devin Booker. This team is a very good roster, as they were last year. And then number 1, the Golden State Warriors at 15-2. Golden State. Playing like Golden State, Steph Curry, best player in the NBA, clearly right now. And I think that he is just carrying this team. The Warriors just can never, besides these past 2 seasons, just can never do bad, no matter what they do. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching this video today. Hope you all enjoyed the content. And yeah, I enjoy making these power rankings for you guys. Comment down below your rankings, and I'll see you later. Peace out.